Hello, it is I. Today I wish to be telling you of the tale of one of my favorite games I have ever played, and the tragedy that goes alongside it. Cortex Command is, side-scrolling pixel-based builder voxel team shooter game tactics strategy simulator. It's a lot of things. It's also dead. Development. Actually trying to find a solid history on this game was a massive pain in the ass. Wikipedia claims it has been in development since 2001, but has no citation, and the oldest source on the page is from 2007, with most of the sources from 2008. The documentation for this game's development is rocky. If we take a look at Steam's update history for the game, the most recent update from 3 years ago is just an announcement for DataRealm's next game. The devlog on their website doesn't go back earlier than 2015, but that's what they want you to think. The devlog actually goes all the way back to 2006! I can't confirm when the game was first put up for sale, but because these blog posts bring up that readers should, quote, try the build, it implies that it's been purchasable since at least mid to late 2006. To give you an idea of how old these blog posts are, this one recommends that you check out the hidden classic, Minecraft. So when did support for this game effectively end? The game's been largely the same since Build 28, also known as Cortex Command 1.0. That released in 2012 alongside the Steam release. There have been 4 major updates since, but all have been largely quality of life, and the game is, for the most part, the exact same. So, realistically, Cortex Command in its current state is about 9 years old. Technically, 5 years. If you count this update that added an advertisement to the main menu, 3 years old. Story.
You? Exceptionally stupid.
Cortex Command's plot is insignificant to the point that the 2-minute intro that contains a grand total of 9 slides is all that there is. Essentially, the Pope dual wields MGLs because he's resource hungry, and brains can control bodies remotely through techno-wizardry. That's the plot. Art direction. Cortex Command has some pretty great sprite work on display. Nothing groundbreaking or even, super exceptional, but it certainly fits its aesthetic and has carved its own art style. When you throw explosions into the mix, though, they are certainly the highlight of the show. When shot, as expected, people turn into not people. This can look disturbingly gorgeous at times, and is genuinely very cool. Like here, when I was sat in a corner shooting for so long that the amount of cartridges behind me piled up to the point where I could use it as cover. Or here, where they can't get in over their dead comrades. Gameplay. The question of how to actually play the game is an important one. Cortex Command likes to ditch the standard learning curve approach and instead opt for the learning cliffs of Dover. I'm pretty sure I only know how to play this game because as a wee lad I drove my head into it over and over again until I could play it. That being said, I'm not a teacher. This isn't gonna be a tutorial. The game's arsenal contains a lot of typical military hardware, alongside rocket launcher chainsaws. The game's movement is heavily tied into its physics engine, and as you may have noticed, it's quite, interesting. People try to move with their actual legs, but don't really have a great time of it. The most consistent method of travel in this game is to tap down to make yourself duck, while holding A or D and then hold W to jetpack in that direction. Essentially, you're making yourself into a cruise missile, and this is the most effective method of transportation. Though the movement is clunky, the weightiness, or sometimes lack thereof, does allow for some moments that do genuinely look quite cool. The game's physics also allows for some genuinely quite cool moments. Like here, where this guy gets crushed by an RPG getting thrown on top of him. Or, this. Enemies are plagued with sub-brick level intelligence and will often not be able to find out how to maneuver through doorways or go over spikes. They will employ such ingenious tactics, however, as blowing up an entire dropship over said spikes so that they can cross them. Metagame. Cortex Command has a pretty unique campaign mode that I haven't really seen replicated elsewhere. Ranging from 2 to 4 players, it plays like a really watered down Total War. There's a set about a mining site set by the player, and at the start of each day, the player can pick which one they want to go to. For AI, I believe their choices are completely random, and in all honesty, it might as well be for players too. Each site operates as a base that gives the player that owns it money every day. So, control more places, make more money, make Reagan proud, etc. Attacks on sites are done with brain robots, you know from before, the things that can arbitrarily control all bodies on screen through magic. Everyone gets the same amount at the start of the game, with no way to get more. Well, there's one site left, and all 4 players are going to be going for it. The rest of the footage here, I think, should speak for itself. Sets you own can have money poured into them to make a base that's either manually built by the player or built automatically based off a pre-designated base. Any damage made to these sites during gameplay is fully stored mined. Given enough time, a battlefield can become more dropship debris and body parts than ground. Invaders to your sites are not hard to ward off. Simply adopt the tactic of dropping a rogue suicide bomber with a medium digger and you'll pretty much win every single engagement. Hell, sometimes your intervention is completely unnecessary, and your invaders just combust. Sometimes it happens to you, too. Quick aside, I think what actually happened here is that my brain robot built concrete into his own skull and exploded. Though the game is obviously quite kooky, it's not averse from actually getting tense. Here I've expended all my funds on this one dude who had to scrounge up all he could from the environment. While enemies are practically pouring in behind him, it's all on him to dig to victory. And with that out of the way, it's time for a quick lesson about concrete. Diggers can mine through basically everything in the game, but not this white bit in bunker walls. But you know what can? Bullets. During this particular invasion, as a curiosity, I let the enemy live for a while just to see what they'd do. They ended up digging so close to my base that this lad right here was able to extremely tediously dig to him with his sniper rifle. This happened 2 more times to the point where the base gradually grew a murder tunnel. So how do you win the metagame? After all of your opponents expend their brains, you just kind of anticlimactically win. I've never found it to be particularly difficult. So, for all intents and purposes, this isn't the real game. Let me show you where the real game is. Wave defense. That's right. The best part of this game is the wave defense mode. This is easily where a good, like, 80% of my playtime lies, maybe even more. The objective is very simple. Survive. Let me introduce you to one of my newest creations, the tower. This is easily one of my favorite bases I've ever defended in wave defense. Its main feature, which brought me so much joy, were these two little outcroppings here, dubbed chainsaw ports. Let me show you why. Friendly fire was a little bit of a worry, but worth it. RPG has also found success. Okay, to a point. Even when the defenses of the tower fell, I still got to watch the AI desperately try to find its way up the shaft, fall repeatedly, and then die from brain hemorrhages. And then, right when I was about to lose, it ended with a crash. The highlights of my next one was the extremely gruesome amounts of corpses that littered the halls and this crazed double digger guy. Also ended with a crash as I was about to lose. So what caused these crashes? Well, base Cortex Command isn't all that stable to begin with, but I believe these crashes were caused by the CCCP. The Cortex Command Community Project is essentially the communities trying to keep the game alive and updated. Most of the changes are an objective improvement, but at the cost of stability, as you can tell. I did try the metagame changes, which they allegedly improved. They don't give brains diggers, so they gormlessly stare around after being dropped, which means you can drop a crate on their face and instantly kill them. And then the entire game mode itself soft-locked about 5 minutes in. But I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. Now don't tell anyone that I told you this, but the Cortex Command Community Project is a free mod. So free, in fact, that it includes an entire install of the base game. So if you don't want to pay for Cortex Command, play this. Closing. So, Cortex Command is a pretty great game. It's also effectively free, so do give it a shot. Oh shit, I have to be a YouTuber now. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and also to share this video on every single public Discord server that exists. Maybe even private ones too, if you're feeling daring.